New music. I like it.
Very nice.
Hi, welcome to CU Sports Magazine. I'm Andrew Rivera.
And I'm Todd Gary. Thanks for joining us. Well, more football news this week. Bill McCartney has hired Chuck Heater as his new secondary coach. Heater replaces Greg Brown, who was lured away by the Atlanta Falcons to coach their secondary. Heater is currently the recruiting coordinator for the Buffs, and since the NCAA has decided to do away with that position, Heater would have been without a job come July. Heater brings a lot of coaching experience to the Buffs. He coached several different defensive positions at CSU, Toledo, Wisconsin, Ohio State, and Notre Dame. Mack is also looking to fill another key coaching position, that of quarterbacks coach, and several coaches are scheduled to be interviewed this week, including the father of backup quarterback Koy Detmer, Sonny Detmer. On a more somber note this week, the Big 8 lost a legend yesterday. University of Oklahoma coaching great Bud Wilkinson died in St. Louis at the age of 77. Wilkinson racked up a 143-29 record at OU en route to 3 national titles and a record 47-game winning streak. He was also credited with developing the split T formation, a standard in college football. Andrew?
The men's basketball team is in Norman as we speak, getting set to take on the Sooners tomorrow at noon. The good news is that forward Mark Dean is expected to play in the game, even though the senior says his knee is only about 70% recovered. Dean's absence was strongly felt on Wednesday when the Buffs were outmanned and outmuscled by Missouri in a 12-point loss. Dean injured the knee during practice on Monday. Tanya Harding is being questioned in the incident. Todd?
Well, Andrew, the Buffs, the men's basketball team, those Buffaloes, they hosted Kansas State last week, and they put up a pretty good fight. So let's go ahead and take you out to the Coors Event Center and show you just exactly how they did it. Coach Dana Altman looking for an easy road win in Boulder. CU steps out and starts strong in the half. Here, Donnie Boyce feeds Mark Dean, and he finishes with the soft hook. Fred Edmonds finds the open shot, but a little much helium on the ball. Edmonds all over the place here, and the block on Bean, but Bean won't be denied. He comes back for more, and he lets Edmonds know who's in control with the soft touch. Edmonds feeding the hoop here on the way to a very impressive game. And Boyce, of course, continuing to play strong for CU, but he gets caught walking with the ball. And Coach Joe Harrington says, "Are you nervous?" "I'm not nervous." "Are you?" "Not me." Here, Boyce lobs a cherry over the whole K-State squad, and Dean with one more easy bucket. Askia Jones squares for the 3 and draws iron. Kirk Williams really gets up for the rebound. Then Boyce finds Edmonds on the long pass for the DUNK. With 22 seconds left in the half, Edmonds delivers the package to Askia Jones, but gets called for the body, and he doesn't like it one bit, and he's going to let the ref know about it. Go easy there, Eddie. We don't need a T. Harrington giving a play to Boyce here, and CU heads into the locker room down by 8, 34-36 at halftime. And Andrew, CU, they didn't look too hot in the first half, but they stayed tight with Kansas State.
And they were expected to. This was a home game against not exactly the powerhouse in the Big 8. Granted, Kansas State did beat Kansas, but Colorado was expected to come out strong. They came out okay, and as we see in the second half, they pulled it off in the end.
Absolutely, and a strong game from Donnie Boyce. And let's show you what he had to offer in the second half. Back to the event center here in the second half. Donnie Boyce starts out the half with a drive to the hoop, and the lane closes, the loose ball, and Freddie comes out with it with the 2 points. Boyce gets it back from Edmonds and pulls the trigger. He makes it look so easy. Boyce again with the feed from Freddie, and Donnie with the glass-friendly shot. Here's Devon Davis with the smooth motion and the 3. Ted Allen finally getting active. Allen misses a shot, and Boyce there for the putback off the glass. Here Allen gets credit for an assist to Boyce, and Donnie does not disappoint. If you like that, watch this. Donnie to Ted to Donnie, and the iron-free diet for Donnie Boyce. The bucket put CU up 42-39, and they never looked back from here. Darrell Cunningham gets the pass and decides to play hot potato with it. Fred Edmonds with the elevation on the glass, and the Dukes Buffs fans like what they see in Harrington, urging his team on and hoping they can hang on to their rare lead. Anthony Bean draws the 3 from the corner. Edmonds back the other way, puts down the sweet 18-footer. Edmonds has 2 targets. He picks Mark Dean, and Mark Dean with the layup. Donnie Boyce, very hard to defend, and Strickland finds out the hard way. Count the bucket and the foul. Boyce feeding everyone but the baby today to Ted Allen with a strong move in the traffic. and the hoop. Harrington saying, settle down, guys. We got this one under control. Golgart ices the game with 2 free throws in the last 10 seconds. And the Buffs go on to win their second Big 8 game. Final score 67, K-State 61. And Andrew, a career tying high, Donnie Boyce, 30 points and assists all over the place.
Donnie was on fire, and credit Joe Harrington for sparking the Buffs after the loss in Manhattan. Joe Harrington said that he would guarantee a Buffalo's victory against Kansas State when they came to the Coors Event Center. He delivered.
Jimmy Johnson or Joe Namath, which one do you want?
I think Joe Harrington.
Joe Harrington?
The next force year.
We'll go with it. Why not?
Okay, well, Colorado came off that victory and had to make a long road trip starting in Columbia, Missouri. Let's go out to Columbia for those first half highlights. Donnie Boyce coming off a strong game against Kansas State. He would need another to upset the Tigers. Melvin Booker gets Missouri started with a short jumper. Boyce would counter for the Buffs with a nice move and the hoop. Donnie feeling the touch early. Fred Edmonds was not feeling the touch early. In fact, he didn't touch anything on this shot. Missouri pushes it up, and Winfield slams it down for the Tigers. Norm Stewart thinking this would be a laugher. Not quite then. Nami. That was my Cliff Clavin impersonation, Todd.
Very nice.
Allen with a nice move. And the stuff. Tigers on the break here. They get it over to Atkins, and he nails the tray. Then O'Linney driving for Missouri. There he is, and he has it swatted by the king of SWAT, Ted Allen's 100th career block. Booker in a group early. He nails the 3. He had 19 points in the game. Freshman Greg Jensen with 2 of his 2. That's right, those were Jensen's only points of the game. But Boyce picked up the slack. Nice spin move and the foul. Then Booker out of control. Wild shot. You guessed it. It drops. Sutherland says, okay, maybe I can do that. Incorrect. But a sloppy outlet pass by Allen gives it right back to Mizzou. They call a foul on Boyce. Allen says, to heck with it. And Joe, I think you better have a seat. Tigers stretching it out towards the end of the half. Thames with the dunk. A few seconds left in the half. Booker gets assaulted by Allen. Ted says, no, that wasn't me. That was another big white guy. And you guessed it. Booker made all 3 free throws. Colorado trails at the half, 46-32. And all things considering, Todd, Colorado came out pretty tough in this game. They gave up a few points towards the end of the half, which made the deficit probably larger than they had hoped for. But all things considering, they looked okay in the first half.
Absolutely, Andrew. I think they played very strong in the first half. And the only problem they had with Mark Dean on the bench, Ted Allen got into some foul trouble early in the first half. He had 3 fouls going into the break. So that's tough to do when you have one of your big men on the bench. And Ted Allen, of course, you need the defensive boards because Jensen and Edmonds just aren't in there that much to pull him down.
And we'll show you some of the foul trouble that they got to right now. Let's go out to Columbia for the second half highlights. Mark Dean relegated to the spectator role for this one. O'Linney starts the Tigers off with a long-range jumper. And for good measure, he would do it again. He had 16 points in the game. The 3.0 meter now up to 110 for the season. Again, it was Boyce to the rescue, the strong drive and the layup. Norm Stewart thinking, we can't lose to Colorado. Golgart keeps the pressure on with a nice turnaround and the kiss off the glass. But then the foul trouble started for CU. Inside to Krutoff. Allen gets whistled for his 5th. He says, thank you very much. I'll just walk over to my bench and stick my head in my jersey. Come on, Ted, it's not that bad. At least when you have Boyce. Another tough shot by Donnie. The key word here is careless. Edmonds with the drive, shot no good. Both teams fumble it around, and Missouri finally comes away with it. Winfield down court to Booker, and he'll put up the alley-oop. Golgart there for the steal. Boyce says, okay, let's play some sound fundamental basketball. Not quite. Jensen would finally get called for the foul, his 5th of the game, and he was done for the evening. Kirk Williams stepped in for 2 of his 5. Kirk played 19 minutes in the game. Booker keeps Missouri ahead with the 3. Boyce responds with a tray of his own. He had 27 points in the game to lead all scorers. Normie still sweating. Sweat no more, Norm. Frazier steals it up ahead to Booker, and he finishes it with the slam. C was all but done when Sandy Golgart fouled out of the game, leaving C with exactly 5 eligible players. Boyce also had 4 fouls at this point. Missouri would end the game on an air ball, but that was of little solace to the Buffs as Missouri says, "See you later, Colorado." Final score 82-70. And Todd, for a game that they were predicted to supposedly lose by 20-plus points, not a bad performance to come away with only a 12-point loss. But then again, I think CU is tired of these moral victories. It's time to put some real victories on the board.
And Andrew, the game wasn't as far apart as it seemed with the final score. I believe Missouri scored about 6 or 7 points in the last minute. CU had it down to about 8 or 9 point lead, and they just couldn't capitalize, of course, with 5 people in the game. What can you do? And Andrew, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Did they make their layups this week?
Sort of. Sort of.
Very
As
well.
opposed to free throws. Okay, time for a break on the CU Sports Magazine. Stay with us. Lots more to come. Back right after this.
What do you really give when you give blood?
Another summer. Another dance. Another song. Another hug.
Good game, man. Don't worry about it.
Another date. Another moment.
When you give blood, you give another chance.
Vince, remember how we got our jobs telling people to buckle up?
Yeah, it seems just like yesterday.
Next.
To buckle or not to buckle?
Next.
Defend!
Next. We are never going to find a safety belt spokesperson.
Let's get buckled!
Yeah, we've helped save thousands of lives.
But some people still don't buckle up. So let's hit it!
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle your safety belt.
Welcome back to the CU Sports Magazine. Andrew's got some very interesting golf news for us. Andrew?
Yes, we don't talk enough golf here. The CU golf team traveled to Tucson Tuesday to compete in the Ping, Arizona Intercollegiate Golf Tournament. But with injuries to 2 key members of the team, CU managed just 10th place in the tourney. Top-ranked Oklahoma State won the title over number 6 Texas by 1 stroke. Sophomore John Segelke led CU with a 1 over par 214 to finish 22nd overall. As for the injuries, senior Bob Kalinowski underwent surgery to remove scar tissue in his elbow in January. The Big 8 defending champion is expected to return to the team by March. Senior John Zerwin also had surgery in January to repair a torn ligament in his hand, and he should be swinging the irons again by March as well.
Well, best of luck to those Andrew and those gentlemen in returning to the greens, because you know how much that CU golf team loves to play. Up next, we're going to show you some CU women's basketball team highlights from Kansas, which was an excellent game. You and I were both there, Andrew, and let's have Rob Moody tell us all about it right now.
The CU women's basketball team, currently ranked 5th in the country, practicing behind me, goes to Missouri this weekend to take on the Tigers. They're coming off victories last weekend against Kansas and Kansas State. Colorado comes out in the second half, up by 9. They lead the Hawks 35-26. Things start out slowly for both teams. Amy Palmer can't handle the ball, but Erica Muncy can't hit the layup. Jamila Lang tries to increase the Buffs' lead. She drives the lane and is fouled, but can't get the ball to fall. Kansas is still having problems. This shot goes off the top of the backboard. Shelly Sheets got the pass from Jamila Lang and hits the running jump shot. That increases Colorado's lead to 10. Angela Aycock kept Kansas within striking distance at the free throw line, cutting into CU's lead, but then Shelly Sheets would answer right back, hitting a tray on the pass from Aaron Schultz. Kansas's woes continued as Jamila Lang draws the offensive foul off Angela Aycock's drive to the basket. And then underneath, that's Aaron Schultz saying, "Get out of my house." She stuffs Aycock. And then Shelly Sheets bringing the ball down. She dishes underneath to Jamila Lang. Easy 2 points. And Colorado never looked back. The final score, Colorado 75, Kansas 67.
Yeah, it was a big weekend for us. Our Friday night game was really tough. It was just a fast-paced, up-and-down game. We held our composure, and when they made the run, but Kansas was a good team, and we were able to pull it out. And against K-State, I think we just didn't really execute defensively. We didn't play team defense. I think that's what got us so far behind.
Yeah, we did. We had to really prepare for that. It was a big, two big games for us to stay in the Big 8 championship run. And we came out there and we did our job. We played together, and I think that's what won it for us.
Andrew, full house at the Coors Event Center, and that was an exciting game.
It was incredible to see that crowd, biggest crowd of the year for either a men's or women's team, and it was something to watch. Well, Colorado followed that game a couple of days later against Kansas State, and they actually trailed for a good portion of the game. Let's let Rob tell us more about that contest.
Colorado trailed Kansas State almost from the opening tip. By the middle of the second half, the Buffs were down by 8 and were shooting only 35% from the field. An example of that poor shooting is Shelly Sheets from the baseline in and out. At the other end of the floor, K-State was getting the rolls here. Lynn Holdman hits and extends the lead to 10. Lori Weathers would help spark CU. She gets a putback here. And then Jamila Lang scores on the three-point play, and the tide begins to turn. After a steal by Aaron Schultz, Amy Palmer dishes underneath to Schultz, who cuts into the lead, and the Buffs are back in the hunt. And then the play of the game, Jamila Lang gets the steal and scores, and Colorado is back within 1. And then K-State helps Colorado with turnovers. Stacey Hill loses the handle here, and Colorado can take the lead. Lang hits 2 free throws, and CU does take the lead, 50-49. Things went downhill for Kansas State from there. Their shots wouldn't go, and Colorado never looked back. Jamila Lang with a tough jumper in traffic. CU leads 54-52, and Aaron Schultz adds to the lead. And then Jamila Lang from the top of the key. Do you think Sealberry is happy? She'd be even more happy when Shelly Sheets hit this and was fouled. Sheets would hit the free throw, and the Buffs would hold on to win 66-57. Colorado's 23rd straight home victory. Kansas lost to Missouri, and so now CU is tied with Kansas for first place in the Big 8. Colorado takes on Missouri Saturday. Missouri this weekend. They beat Kansas last weekend, so this is another big game.
Oh, it's a huge game. We got to be ready to play. They're going to take it to us just like they did to Kansas, and they have a tough inside game, so it's going to be up to our 3, 4s, and 5s to keep them off the blocks and just get the rebounds.
Yes, we are looking forward to playing it, actually. We are excited because Missouri just beat Kansas at their home, so it's going to be an interesting game, so we're looking forward to it.
All right.
But that was an exciting game. Frankly, I think that was a more exciting game than the Kansas game. Great comeback by Colorado, and they're able to pull it off.
Absolutely, Andrew. And, of course, Missouri, their game up next year, they're going to Missouri to play the bottom of the barrel Tigers in the Big 8, but they took on Kansas or was it in Missouri?
In Columbia, yeah.
It was in Columbia, and they beat Kansas in Columbia, so not at all an easy road run. And, of course, the women's basketball team, all 3 of their games, they lost on the road, 2 of them in the conference.
So don't expect that tomorrow, but then again, you never know. The game is at 2:30, I believe, and on radio it will be on KBOL. So, Sealberry's up next. You want to tell them about it?
Sealberry is up next. She's going to be talking with a very good friend of ours from KBOL, and stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This is just one of the many parts you can play as a young Red Cross volunteer. Volunteer and play your part.
end this one.
Welcome back to the Sports Magazine Show. I'm Carol Cowan with KBOL Radio, and with me is Seal Berry, the University of Colorado women's basketball coach. Each week we're going to be providing short segments focusing in on the Buff team, and today is our initial broadcast. Seal, welcome. Your team so far is 18-3 overall, 7-2 in the Big Eight. You're tied for first place with Kansas, thanks to a very successful weekend in your eyes, I'm sure. You won 2 games, one over Kansas and one over Kansas State, and Kansas proceeded to lose 2, the other loss being at Missouri. Were you pleased with your team's performance?
I was real pleased with how we played under pressure. I thought that the Kansas game would be a big game in terms of playing in front of a big crowd. They'd already beaten us one time. We're significantly younger than Kansas, and I thought this was a kind of a test of how are we gonna react under pressure. Against Kansas State, we come out flat. We don't play well in a lot of the first 20 minutes of the game. I thought our senior, junior captain, Shelly Sheets, Jamila Lang, I thought they came through in the clutch and, sealed that win for us.
You talk about pressure. It's almost a matter of composure out there. What do you attribute that character to? Why have you been so successful in those pressure situations?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with last year. In being a winning program, you get used to winning. You don't expect to lose. You step out on the floor. Our players step out on the floor. Even the freshmen, they know the winning that has gone on here in the past, and I think they just expect to win, and I think that's a lot of the reason why we win those tight games.
You had a big crowd at Kansas, 10,300 approximately, and then you still had 4,500 on a very nice Sunday at the Kansas State game. What part does the crowd play in your success?
I thought the Kansas State game, there was no question that crowd really lifted us up. We get down 13 points to a team that we're supposed to beat. They're 7th or 6th place in the Big Eight. We were not playing well. They're very well coached, and if we were on the road, I could see us rolling over and losing that game. And I thought there came a time in the game where the fans just stood up and rose up and raised our level of play, got some momentum going for us, and then we kind of took over from then. And I think, again, there's a young team reacting to playing at home.
You have a young team. It seems at times that they're somewhat inconsistent in their play. You can go through segments in your game where you don't score for 4 minutes at a time, and then all of a sudden they're so explosive. Why? How can you get better consistency? What's the reason for all of that?
Well, they're so used to scoring off their ability and their talent and not off execution. And we are explosive because if a team has a defensive breakdown, we're going to take advantage of that. However, if the team doesn't have a defensive breakdown, if they defend us well, if they're in position, we don't score very well because we don't know how to execute. So in the last week, actually I would say in the last 3 weeks, we've worked on little things. I see some of the things coming to fruition on the floor. I think this week we've had an excellent week of practice. We've tried to take one piece of our offense every day, just one thing, and work on it and get a little bit better. I think they're understanding the idea of continuity in their offense. And we're still working towards March 18th, 19th, that time of the year.
As you progressed through 21 games, early on, you were so concerned about their youth and trying to get them comfortable to play Division I basketball that you felt at times you neglected your defense. Are you happier now with your defense? Are they starting to play a full 30 seconds of defense?
Well, no, we're not. I think at times when we need it, we can really we can turn it on. Jamila Lang making a steal against Chanel Stires just out at half court. DC Thomas can turn it on pretty much at any time. Same thing with Shelly Sheets. Probably the only player that we have that plays defense the entire time on the floor is Amy Palmer. I think we're still trying to raise our intensity level and again get across the fact that defense usually is the key to winning championships.
You've mentioned Shelly Sheets and Jamila Lang. Shelly Sheets is an All-American preseason pick. Jamila Lang has always played great offense, and this year seems to be a little bit more of a complete player. As a coach, what are the things you appreciate most about those two players?
Well, I really like the way Jamila has stepped up. I think in the games that have been tight when we were at Oklahoma State, I thought she took big shots against Oklahoma State when they were making her run, even though we lost the game, I thought she did some really good things there to actually keep us, to send us into overtime. Same thing against Kansas. She got an offensive rebound off a missed free throw, put it in, three-point play. That pretty much sealed the win for us. Same thing with Shelley. I believe it was against Kansas State. Made a one-on-one move, the play that they called a three-pointer that was really a two-pointer. But that was a big shot. That sealed the win for us. And I think they're recognizing now that for so long, those two players have played with 5 pretty dominant players. And now all of a sudden, I think they're really stepping up. That just doesn't happen overnight.
You talk about that blend, the experience with the youth, and you've recruited so well over the last couple of years. This crop coming in, they're valedictorians, they're high school All-Americans, and yet you continually talk about them being young. Are you surprised, or maybe I better ask it this way, why do you think you've been able to take this youth and become the 5th team in the country?
Well, I think one is we do not expect to lose at home. I mean, we always expect to win at home, and we have 7 home games in the Big 8. We have 4 in the non-conference, so there's 11 wins that we automatically expect to happen. And then I think we've got that ability of tremendous players that can rise to the level of the play. Shelley against Tennessee is a prime example.
Missouri's a tough place to play. You play them tomorrow, and it's on their home court, and Kansas has gone in there several years in a row and gotten beat. What can you do to pull that win off tomorrow at Missouri, excuse me?
Our post players have got to play well. They have got to be physical. If Jamila Lang, Erin Scholes, Reagan Scott, Taisha Jones, if those 4 players, 3 of whom are freshmen, don't go in there and play physical and rebound with Missouri, we'll get beat at Missouri.
Well, Coach, we wish you well tomorrow. Obviously, you'll be playing in front of a hostile crowd, and knowing Missouri and their antlers that they get in there, they can make it pretty tough on your team. Good luck to you, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks for being with us, and we'll take a short commercial break and be back to the Sports Magazine Show.
Everyone makes mistakes, Matthew. Don't pay any attention to the other children.
For this bright 6-year-old, the ABCs have never been as simple as ABC. Where do you go when you're different from the other kids? He got help at a Center for Learning Disabilities. They got help from the United Way. All because the United Way got help from you. The United Way. It brings out the best in all of us.
Well, Andrew, a very nice visit from Seal Berry, and of course she will be joining us every week along with Carol for a short 5-minute segment to let you know what's going on with the women's basketball team. And stay with us next week. We are going to have the CU ski team for you and also club hockey. Andrew.
Exciting stuff.
Very exciting.
Okay, for Todd Geary, the rest of the crew here at Sports Magazine, we thank you for joining us. See you next week.